if somehow COVID happens, then what all things you can do. And this is like, I'm going to be very focused, very crisp, very at what things work and what thing works the best. That is all you can do. No need to go and get into too many things. Just do this, and with God's grace, you will get out of it. So the first thing is that you have to stay away from negativity and fear. So you will see that, in the entire media, you will see most of the things that is getting highlighted is the negativity. So you have to move on from negativity, right? You have to see that the negative aspect, the negative news and the fear becomes the minimal part of your life. That is what I did. The first thing when I got to know that I have got a moderate COVID in April, same time when you had it. So I disconnected myself from the entire world. I got confined to one room, secluded myself, so that I quarantined myself for nearly 20-25 days. Right? Now it was not just 14 days, for 25. So that I am pretty sure that everything is fine and I am fine, only then I get out. That was the kind of responsibility you have towards yourself and towards your family and the society. So stay away from negativity, because fear decreases your immunity. There is a very good research on this also, and in yoga, if you get fearful, your immunity goes down drastically, and that increases your chances of whatever, if you would have had a mild COVID, it may get increased and you may have a moderate COVID, something like that. So it is eventually about immunity. Okay. Now the second thing is that whatever you might have been doing in your life, a lot of people think that I work out daily, I go to gym daily, I do marathon running, I do this, that, I do yoga daily, so COVID will not happen to me. So this is the myth. Get out of that. COVID can happen to anybody. I mean, it is still to be found out. Maybe it is the genetics that is at play, whatever it is. So science will find it out eventually. But whatever kind of lifestyle you have been living, whatever kind of profession you are in, don't think that I am beyond COVID. COVID can happen to anybody. So follow COVID appropriate behavior. A lot of have been already talked about that. Keep your mask on. That is the most important thing. Maintain social distancing, things like that. And in the recent days, the new variant, that is the Omicron, that we have got to know, it mostly affects the upper part of your respiratory tract, from the nose to the the throat area. And we have also heard that it replicates up to 70 times less as compared to Delta variant in your lungs, right? So most of the people are having infection only of the upper tract. So what all things you can do about yoga that you can manage and take care of yourself when you are, you might have been prescribed some medicines, things like that. So keep on doing that, listen to your doctor and incorporate these things also about yoga. So the first thing is that you have to focus on cleansing, right? The first thing in yoga is shauch, maintaining the purity of yourself. So here what you have to do, here you have to keep complete cleanness of your mouth, of your oral hygiene, of your nasal tract, of your throat, right? So how you can do it? You do mouthwash, right? With Listerine, with hot saline water. Do it on a regular basis, at least once or twice a day. Because during Delta, a lot of people after COVID, a lot of issues about this dental thing happened, and that happened because that people are not maintaining good hygiene, and somehow the virus got into that place, and it started creating problem in the dental area, right? So you have to maintain good oral hygiene. So do mouthwash. In Ayurveda, there is a technique of oil pulling. So in yoga, we do oil pulling also. Oil pulling is simply you take a spoonful of this coconut oil and just put it in your mouth and keep swishing it in the entire oral cavity, from left to right, from forward to backward, and do it for 10-15 minutes. So that is very good for maintaining good oral hygiene. The second thing is that you have to clean your nasal passage. So in yoga, there is a technique called Jalneti. Jalneti is where we take saline water, little lukewarm saline water, and with the help of a neti pot, we put it from one nostril, and then the entire water comes out to the other nostril, right? And that is how it cleans the entire nasal passage. Takes away all the septum, all the congestion that is there in the nose. So, but this thing, doing Jal Niti with the Niti pot requires a little bit of learning under the guidance of a good yoga teacher. So the easier thing that you can do is just take saline water, lukewarm saline water. It should be 2-3 degrees beyond your body temperature, and put it in your palm and just suck it with one nostril. Right, do this 2-3 times, and if your nose is congested, just do it 4-5 times till that entire water goes little bit into your throat. Right, so that is how your entire nasal passage will get clean. So do it from the left side, and then repeat it from the right side. Just suck it, keep your water in the palm and suck it with your nostrils. Little bit. Don't overdo it. Don't suck it with the force. It has to be done very gently. This is very important. So maintaining a good nasal hygiene is also called nasal irrigation. Like if you have kids, for kids there is a nasal drop, that saline nasal drop is there in the market, right? So you just put in that nasal drop, and that water goes into your throat, and that is how it clears the nose area, nasal area. So the third thing is that you have to take care of your throat. Now you already know saline hot water gargles. It works wonderfully. There are betadine gargles people recommend, and there is one thing which my doctor recommended, and that worked also equally well, and that was doing a gargle with Listerine. You can discuss with your doctor if you have a lot of sore throat. That Listerine also works wonderfully, but you have to do it for 2 minutes. That is what I also got guided. Okay, so this was about the cleansing. When you focus on this, it is possible that a lot of virus that have got trapped in that mucus, that body is fighting against that, it will go out, and probably your viral load will also come down. So the other thing that you have to focus on, and very simple thing, is doing pranayama. So with Sumit and many other people, we have done a different kind of technique of pranayama, but a very commonly known technique, which is very easily, a lot of people will understand, and a lot of videos is also there available. So you can look for that and just do two things. One is Brahmali Pranayama. Brahmali Pranayama is important because it's just like this, that you produce a humming sound with your nose. Now, when we breathe, when we breathe in slowly, and when we do Brahmali Pranayama, what these things do is that they produce nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is a well-known antivirus molecule. It's an antiviral agent. So when you do this Brahmali Pranayama and up to 11 times, and try to do it 4 or 5 times in a day, then this entire nitric oxide gets produced, and eventually it kills the virus. So nitric oxide is also there in the clinical trials, for COVID, that how to use that as a therapy, as an antiviral agent. So doing Brahmali Pranayama is one of the wonderful things. Now, how do you do it? You simply sit, upright, in your like sofa or on the yoga mat, or on your bed, on your chair, wherever possible. Just try to sit upright and make a Shankmukhi Mudra. So how do you make a Shankmukhi Mudra? You bring your hands and you close both the ears with thumb. Bring your index finger above your eyebrows, your middle finger on your nose tips, and like this. And you close your eyes, close your ears, and inhale completely, and then produce a humming sound like this. Now you repeat this at least 11 times. So this is wonderful, and why? Because in one way it is working in clearing your entire respiratory tract, clearing congestion, working against the virus, and at the same time it is taking care of your mental health. A lot of anxiety that gets developed and some people also go into depression. So this is very good in countering your mental health and in taking care of stress. The second thing that you have to do is anulom vilom. I will not tell you to do 10 different types of things, but in my experience, anulom vilom works wonderfully. And especially in COVID, it takes care of multiple aspects, multiple levels. It works. I will not go into detail on right now because we are running out of time. So try to do anulom vilom. Now, how to do it? I will just simply tell you. Now, close your right nostril with thumb, okay, and you sit upright just like you had posture when we were discussing about Brahmali Pranayama. Now you inhale from your left nostril first. And as you have slowly inhaled completely, then close your left nostril and then exhale from the right nostril. And then inhale again from the right nostril. And then close your right nostril with the thumb and open the left nostril, which you had closed with your ring finger, and then exhale from the left nostril. This is one round. Now you are closing and opening your right nostril with the thumb and the left nostril with your ring finger. This is important, right? And you can take rest of a cushion and of some other things just to see that you are able to do it properly. Now you have tried to do this as long as possible and at least 2 times in a day. You will see that a lot of issues that you will have will get resolved automatically. This is from my own experience of anulom vilom and how other people have responded to it. This is one of the wonderful things that you can do. Right now, diet is important. You have to take anti-inflammatory diet like apples, pomegranate, fenugreek seed. Just soak it in overnight and then eat it in the morning. Again, a lot of spices that you have at home that works wonderfully. Make a decoction of cloves, turmeric, black pepper, tulsi leaves, and one very good ingredient that is called mulethi. It is very good for respiratory tract. I personally use it, and even in Ayurveda and yoga people use it, and that works. So make a decoction of that and consume it, right? So it will help you, but don't experiment with a lot of spices. Right, because you have to understand that whatever medicines you are taking, it is safe to use both of them together and maintain a gap. Don't overdo it. So keep it simple. Keep your mind right, like we have already discussed. Get rid of anxiety and fear and stress. You will sail through if your mind is in the right order. And doing these 2 pranayams will take you there. So that was the in my experience of last 1 year, that these simple tips work wonderfully. If you have any questions, you can just ask us and we'll be happy to respond. Yes, Sumit, so I think with this we will close this session, and it was wonderful interacting with you.
Yeah, Ashwani, I had one question. So I think one of the things now with Omicron coming in is that it's kids are very susceptible to it. They can easily catch COVID now, which was not the case earlier. So what do you think? I mean, from your experience within your network or with your yoga experience, what is that we can do with kids? Like I have a young daughter, so a lot of other friends and folks have kids at home. What do you suggest? How do we prevent this happening to our kids?
So from the research perspective, we don't have, much of, all that we know is that, the risk factor in kids is very low. I mean, there are papers that are published about how the kids are getting impacted. Although there are a lot of cases, people have even the second wave. Many of my friends, children, they got affected with COVID. And we have seen that, even with personal observation, that more largely kids are safe. if until unless some kind of comorbidity exists, for that I don't have much of information. But from the perspective of yoga, so two things you can do, teach your kids if in case they need it.
Mhm.
And one is that Brahmali Pranayama that we already mentioned, that we already discussed. The entire, method and technique of doing it, Brahmali Pranayama will work wonderfully. Second thing is just keep them hydrated enough, right? Body needs a good level of hydration when it is combating any infection, viral
Yeah.
infection or bacterial, because it has
Yeah.
to expel everything out.
Mm.
Now, the problematic thing is that this is winters, and most of us don't take adequate level of water in winters,
True.
right? So we have to see that we are properly hydrated. We are taking sufficient amount of water at frequent intervals. That is the second thing that will work nicely. And the third thing is that whatever you definitely take like advice of your pediatrician depending upon the condition, and just have normal food like we have already mentioned. Keep it anti-inflammatory in nature, right? Kids are more susceptible to, even parents, as a parent I know that kid will ask for, when they are down with any fever, things like that, they will ask for chocolate or any sweet thing, whatever is their liking, junk food, they would ask for that, so that they feel good about it. So
Yeah.
you as a parent, you have to be very judicious in what things you can provide, so that mentally also they are satisfied, and it is not harming, in creating any kind of inflammation, like it goes against the anti-inflammatory diet thing, right? Dark chocolates are good. Consume dark chocolates, sugar
Yes.
free, it should be sugar free. Consume dark, 85% plus. I've seen that it works very nicely, in case of any kind of throat related issues.
So it
So
has
you
worked in me. It has worked
right.
in me.
Good. So you can, give that as a appetizer or as a, mood enhancing, feel good kind of thing, dark chocolates,
Mm.
right? And from the perspective of diet, you can, give them juices if they are not, willing to eat fruits, make a juice out of that and give that. Good. And I will not recommend much of, into Ayurvedic stuff and things like that. You have to use that because in kids you have to be very cautious, right?
Yeah.
So you consult a good Ayurvedic physician. You can go it on any like online portal, and take advice of that. So they can advise you something nice according to the age and condition of the child, right? And you do anulom vilom. You have to ask that this will work for you, so that is how you have to tell them, and you have to keep them motivated. You have to keep them engaged, because the kids will, if you ask them, I had a lot of problem in teaching my son and other children that you should do this. So if you are yourself encouraged, if you are yourself motivated and enthusiastic about this, so you will automatically find ways to keep them motivated. Practice along with them, just sit next to them and practice. That is how kids learn much better, right? Put on a good music, a music of their choice, and then do it.
True. True.
So you have to bring their mind in that, make them attentive to that particular thing, so that they're not, some children have the tendency of, getting into a lot of fear whenever, they get in unwell, right? So you have to somehow work as a positive agent in the life of the child. So if you do it, then all these things will simply pass away, because at the end of the day, as from the perspective of data, the risk is very less. Whatever small it is there, you can manage that. But the thing is, do not delay in taking any action. Whatever is judicious required, do it at a proper time, and be proactive in that. In the case of child, you have to be proactive. You have to see the doctor, go see. You consult online, do it immediately, right? Take the advice and follow it, and include yoga. That is the best.
Sure.
Integrated approach is, I in my own experience of surviving COVID, I have followed integrated approach, and that is how I know it works wonderfully. But do not mix a lot of medicines. Don't do that. That is what
I
I
think
will
one of the point which
suggest.
you just mentioned I think the yogic music that you introduced me to also played a lot of role in helping me keeping positive from the frame of mind, and the right environment at home with the music on, keep the positivity up. And that also helped me. I remember now.
So in yoga, there is something called Nada Yoga, Nada Nusandhana.
Yeah.
So this is very powerful. Nada Yoga is very powerful. It is like, simply just understand, simply like you have already experienced, but others who have not experienced this is whenever you are in bad mood, you listen to a very good music, and then automatically your mood lifts. That is Nada Yoga. But here we listen to something else so that you don't just get stuck into the particular kind of emotion, but you go beyond and heal yourself. That is the purpose. Great,
Yeah.
Sumit. I think we had a wonderful session, and thank you for your time, and wish you a very good recovery from whatever level you are right now, so that you become completely 100% normal in the coming weeks.
Well, thank you,
Keep on
Ashwani.
doing your yoga practice, and it will change your life.
Thanks for the encouragement and help. Really appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so with this, I will close this session, and thank you, audience, for joining us. See you in the next episode.